Go.
Welcome to the Scene/94 Feet of Life TGI Friday to you and yours. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube, turn your notifications on because you never know we're going to pop in like we are today. A little late lunch, but we got to talk. Double shuttle action today, y'all. We got a game 7, Toronto versus Boston. Not followed. That's going to be the second game. The first game, we got Clippers in Denver, game 5. Had to bring in my other two guards. Germ So True from parts unknown, somewhere between Columbus and Dayton, and somewhere between Collier and Knoxville. We got Jay Ham. Fellas, where you want to start? Do we want to start with the first shuttle, or we want to start with the second shuttle? Where we want to go today?
Ham, I'm gonna let you start to start us off because we ain't got agitated Jay Ham in a while, and we may get a little bit of that today. So I'm gonna let Ham go first.
I'm not agitated though.
Oh, okay.
We got a game 7 for the culture, and then we got the matchup that we got. It's like we got Bulldogs lined up against Bulldogs in game 7. As far as the LA series, both of those over with, I ain't really worried about those. I know it's 3-1 both ways, but those will be settled by tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we'll have those out the way. But the other one, it's like, yo, Toronto gave us everything that they had to give us to get to this point, just to get to game 7. How much they got left? That's my main question. Where are your legs? Your main guys are playing 45, 50, 53 minutes in 58-minute games. So some's got to give. Boston, they're growing up right before our eyes. So it's just like that excitement of it for me. It's just we got this, and we got this in place for a trip to the conference finals where we have another fun Miami team waiting in the wings for them. So I got nothing for the first.
I think, J Ham, to me, this is not about X's and O's tonight. This is just simply who got enough gas in the tank to finish the job. Mm-hmm. And as you point to your chest, heart, guts, all them sports cliches that I can't front, I don't like, but that's what this is tonight. This is exactly what this is. It's all that. Germ. From a Boston point of view, I know Germ has been a keen watcher of Boston during this bubble. What happens to Boston that they can play so well for stretches of games, but then they are always good for 1 8 to 10 minute stretch where it's just like, what is happening?
It's the jump shooting. It's jump shooting. That's really what it is. We talked about this as we get our guy M drop the J because that fadeaway is always perfect. He's dropping in. So with that being said, with Boston, it's just been jump shooting. The jump shooter's been inconsistent for stretches, which the jumper's not going to always fall for 48 minutes. It is what it is. Toronto does a hell of a job at running them off some of those threes as well. And then, as MJ would say, Marcus Smart, stop shooting that broke shit. I mean, like that's just what it comes down to. But when you get Marcus Smart Curry, and then you get, Jason Tatum, who we all said when he came out, we all agreed that Jason Tatum had the goods. We all knew he had the goods. Jaylen Brown has developed and became a lot better player over the last 2 years as well. So these are things that we just seeing them develop. Jaylen Brown takes a lot of jumpers and a lot of times where he's not even on balance. That's a problem. So when he's lined up, when his base is straight, and when he just go up, follow through, he's knocking down jumpers. That it just is what it is. That corner jumper now, he's a problem in that area now. We couldn't say that last year, but we can say that this year. So overall, Boston, Germ, got one word for y'all. Don't lose this game tonight. Don't you lose this game tonight, because I'm going to have a whole lot of things to say about game 3, which game 3 is what shifted the tide, obviously, with OG pulling the OG move. And game 6, Kimba, I heard Kimba was a better fit than Kyrie, but I seen Kimba had 5 points. That would never happen to Kai, ever. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna swing. You know, I don't hog the ball. I'm gonna swing it. I'm gonna go back to Big Shot. Then we're gonna go to MJ.
We're gonna bring MJ in for and we talk about Kimba and his struggles. On the flip side for Toronto, the struggle has been Siakam. It has been he's had an awful series. There's no two ways about it. People know Siakam is one of my 5 favorite players in the league, but he has had an awful series. And the fact that they're still in this series at 3-3 with as bad as he's been is just a credit. Nick Nurse has gone as far into the coaching bag as you can go. He is pulled, it's a similar performance to what he had against the Warriors. I'm just going to go to page 206 of the playbook. I'm going as far into that bag as I can go. And he has squeezed everything out of this team you could possibly squeeze out. So to me, Boston wins this game tonight. Toronto has no complaints because we done everything we could possibly do. We have squeezed that lemon. We've gotten all the juice out of that lemon. So MJ, I'm gonna swing it over to you, jumping in. Boston Toronto game 7, man. Just some thoughts on what you see and what the people should expect to see.
I mean, y'all hit the nail on the head. Almost as if it came out better than y'all saying it. But just with Nick Nurse, I think this is probably the best coaching job that I've ever seen in the playoffs, in a playoff series. The way he has been calling numbers, the way he's been pushing buttons, the way he's been dialing up, mixing defenses, the way he's been mixing up his lineup, have the audacity to start OG at center, and not only not pay for it, but actually turned it into a positive. I mean, just nothing short of amazing. I feel like with Toronto, the world needs to see Toronto win this series so that, guys like who are coaching and teaching the game could say, look, this is the highest level of basketball. Boston was a more talented team, but because they had heart, because they were well coached, because they were disciplined, and they were just flat out tough, they ended up winning anyway. And it usually don't happen often in the playoffs or even in the NBA for that matter when it comes to the playoffs, because it's hard to beat a team 4 times out of 7 if you're not the better team. But when it does happen, it's just that small percentage and that small reminder to just let you know this is the reason why we play the game. And it's not like Boston hasn't been tough. Boston's been very tough. They have elevated their level of play to Toronto. The difference between Boston and Toronto that I've seen in the series, when Boston's clicking, they win by 20. When Toronto's clicking, it takes double overtime. And to me, that's the testament of one team just flat out being better than the other. But the fact that we're still in game 7 despite all of that is just, I can't say anything bad about either team. I would prefer to see Boston versus Miami. I would prefer it. I think Miami will have too much for Toronto because they have hoopers and toughness. So now Toronto has no real advantage. You know what I mean? With Boston, you have a nice little big 3 versus big 3, and each person has their own little advantage or perk to the game. Like you got Bam Adebayo with Miami, who would have, the upper hand against Daniel Tice, but Daniel Tice is just not going to go that easily. Just like with, Jaylen Brown, he would have the one up against Tyler Hero, but Tyler Hero ain't going that easy. So you see those cross matchups, so you got their big 3 versus big 3. And then, the Kemba and Gordon Dragic, please sign me up for that. That's a very underrated point guard study that I would love to see go against. One left-handed, one right-handed, one left-handed, one right-handed, one, is more crafty and fundamental, other one's more sauce. Like, I would just love to see it. Go ahead and pass it over to Ham, though, man. I'm glad I called and jumped in on this one.
Ham, I'm gonna send this over to you because we haven't had the real. We're gonna do a brief post-mortem on what happened to Milwaukee, and this is beyond the Giannis injury. Ham, I'm gonna send this over to you 'Cause I think there's a whole bunch at play. We're not gonna go too deep because they're eliminated. We don't really spend a whole bunch of time on the eliminated. But just some quick thoughts from him on the post-mortem of Milwaukee.
Y'all know how we roll, man. Guard play is vital in this game. You know, if you talking about getting to that level, championship level, contending, really putting it down, your guards got to be on point. You know, they got to play well. They got to be dogs about it. And for a team to win 60 in a full season last year, get another 60 in a shortened, abbreviated season this year, and you don't reach the conference finals in the second time around, you don't reach the finals either time, and I'm looking at your superstar, two-time MVP to be, defensive player of the year, what more could you ask that man to do on either end of the floor? Sure, he don't do this. Sure, you like to see him make more jumpers, but look, this dude is competing. Even the game that they stole and won, what was the game 4, where they were down early, and he rolled his ankle again. It's like when he rolled his ankle again, that put fire and ignited everything else into everybody else in the Bucks uniform when he couldn't return. I think his guards, I don't want to beat them up and bash them. Yo, they just slow, man. Let's let them slide out. George Hill battled. He'll knock down some jumpers. Dante battled, and I hate to even bring in, because y'all know how I am about counting pockets. But you got paid, Chief. They signed you to an extension. You got paid, 60, whatever it was that he got paid. And you dropped that egg. And not so much that you weren't competing. You just got did by another set of guards that had more dog. Dragic, Jimmy B, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, the Milwaukee kid. It's like, yo, they took it to y'all, man. They took y'all soul. I really had more forward the day after they got eliminated, but it's like it kind of waned away. It's like, y'all ain't even important no more. One thing I'm seeing funny with Milwaukee now is like, they need to trade for this. They need to trade for Chris Paul. Look, I'm going to say this, and we'll say this before another episode. Being a small market team in this league, and when pro sports, period, is a lot like being black in America. Take the parallels to it how you may want to wish, but it's a lot there. I don't want to get too much on Milwaukee, so I pass it on over to Jared, man.
One thing to say about Milwaukee, we're just going to make it real simple. I said I gave a little trifecta for Milwaukee guards. I said assists, actions, and points in that order. I said that's all they need to do. Giannis can do the rest. Middleton is a good player. Middleton found what happened. What we seen in Game 4 is Middleton found, now with the touches being strictly on him, Middleton found where he was going to be dominant in this series, where he could have worked more. If he worked more in Game 2 and Game 3 in that area, with the getting off them switch on some of the, shout out to our guy Trav with the American White Snipers, he starts working on them a little bit more. That give him a little bit more consistency there, because he was getting whatever shot he want, and he was knocking those down with confidence. It was just when he had to see Jimmy B wasn't letting him get to the spots he wanted. When he had to see Iggy was D'ing up and forcing him and putting a lot of hands on the basketball, not him, but the basketball. And Crowder was getting cooked occasionally, but Crowder just wasn't going nowhere. So it just is what it is. Milwaukee is in a situation where we're going to have narratives that are going to be there anyway. We're going to have people who yelling trade Giannis. They hoop better without him. We're going to have people who are going to look at the numbers. The plus minus was astronomical difference. But this is what happens when you have a superstar player. I mean, the usage percentage of our superstar players is always substantially more than the rest of the guys on the team. So of course, when White Dante get more opportunities, he's gonna shine and flourish a little bit more. Because now we're not checking for White Dante. What it is. My good season, Milwaukee. Miami was the better team. They were a bad matchup from them from Jump Street. We seen that. That's just what it is. It's styles make fights. That's simple. We ain't got to go no further with it. I'm gonna pass it to MJ and let him go.
Oh, I'm gonna go real far into it. And here's a mantra that I started off at the beginning of the season before this whole quarantine thing happened. Don't hate the player, hate the owner. I am sick and tired of owners getting a blockbuster premier player and only putting serviceable people who can only do one or two things around them. And every time for the last 5 or 6 years, they ran into a team with a bunch of hoopers and they lost. Every time. In this game, there is no one way or two way. You got to be able to do everything. The whole two-way player just no shit is blows me because I'm like, I couldn't even get on the floor if I couldn't play defense. Where do they do this at? I couldn't even get on the floor if I couldn't make an open shot. If I couldn't dribble with both hands, I would have got cut from the team. Now, all of a sudden, because the NBA owners and front office is ran by guys who have all of these fancy degrees in business, they're trying to run it like a business. So because they're running it like a business, they're saying, okay, the way I run a business is I have a CEO, that's Giannis. I have a CFO, who's right underneath from the right hand, that's Chris Middleton. Then I have a bunch of guys who can do a lot of the things that my CEO and CFO may not be able to do that well. And we're just going to make sure that as long as they do their job and everybody do their job, we should be able to be successful. And it works perfectly in the regular season because guess what? I do not have time to focus in on you when I have 3 games a week and I got to travel to Detroit and I got to travel to Chicago right after I just leave you. I don't have time for that. But in the playoffs, I got time. I got Trav time in the playoffs. I get to go into the lab. I get to see everything that you like to do and everything you do not like to do. I get to sit there and just study all of the weaknesses, all of the things that your corporation, aka your team, cannot do under pressure or just can't do, period. And I'm going to make you do those things 4 out of 7 times. If you do it, gentleman's handshake. More often times than not, you're not. Meanwhile, if you look at Miami, you got dudes who can do a little bit of everything. You want Ben Adebayo to pass? He'll pass. He'll shoot. He'll dribble. He'll make a play. He'll guard each position. You want Jimmy Butler to do those things? Jimmy can give you 40. He could also give you 17 when he see the other person rolling and not trip at all as long as he gets the victory. These are hoopers. This is the difference between a hooper and a serviceable guy that is complimenting your superstar. And until y'all start putting hoopers around superstars, you're going to continue to end up with this result.
And you look at Miami, how many games with 6, 7 guys in double figures? How many games would you pull up a score? You like JB took 7 shots and we halfway through the fourth quarter, but they still up 5 or 6. Miami, like I said in the group, that's a game. They gonna all jump you.
You wanna know why? Because all of them can fight. All of them can kick, can punch. All of them are fast. All of them are strong. So since all of them could do everything, that was just a matter of a read. You want to focus it on Jimmy? Go right ahead. Tyler Hero, go ahead and run off this pick and roll for me. Yeah, I know you were supposed to be a shooter, but go ahead and handle the pick and roll duties for about a couple of possessions just to show them what life like. Duncan Robinson, yeah, I know you're a catch and shoot guy. You're supposed to hit the corner 3, but we're going to run you off some screens a la Reggie Miller because nobody knows how to guard that because no one guards the pin down anymore. So we're going to run that action to you. Oh, Goran Dragic, they forgot about you because we have you coming off the bench for Kendrick Dunn. Don't worry. Go ahead and remind them. Remind them that you did have 40 against the Spurs team in the playoffs your rookie season. Go ahead and remind them what you really like, what your life really like. And I could just keep going and going and going. They got 7 bona fide hoopers. Oh, yeah, by the way, the guy that got 2 championships that we happened to pick up for Memphis, Andre Iguodala, y'all forgot about him? I don't know why, because he was the one that was guarding your best player. He was guarding the best player, the GOAT in the finals, and giving him problems. Go ahead and show him what you about, even though, you know, your hair is quarantined out. But the game didn't change. The game didn't change. We got Trav here, so I'm going to pass it back to the point guard. Go ahead, point guard.
We got our main man, Trav, join us. He's on the road. So we're going to switch this over. I'm going to bring Trav in on this one. I think we can safely say that we're going to get the Battle of LA. If we don't have the Battle of LA, something has gone very wrong. So Trav, I'm gonna bring you in right here. LA versus LA. How you see this as it stands? Give me just some initial thoughts on that.
Travis having some technical difficulties right
Yeah, he
now.
must have
Okay.
drove into the forest or something. You know,
Yeah,
them
Trav
forests.
drove into the bubble. He trying to get Houston up out of there early.
Stop helping them pack, Trav.
Yeah, Trav went to help Houston pack. So we're gonna come back. Hopefully he can get back to us. But Jay, we'll swing it back to you then. LA versus LA. This is really what we've kind of all wanted since last year. And we're gonna get it. Just initial thoughts on it. I think it could be, I think this could be the doozy. I think this, the basketball guys don't always treat us right.
At this one.
But I think this time we've been shown favor. What you think about LA versus LA?
I'm torn on prediction. That's really the first thing that comes into play for me. It's like, bro, Clippers, shout out to Marcus Blackstock. He's been calling the Clippers the Wu-Tang Clan since they linked up as this unit last summer. But it's like you look at that roster and then you flip it over and it's like, on the other side, they still got LeBron and AD. And picking against LeBron in playoff situations just ain't always the wisest thing to do.
That is true.
You can find, your reasons to do so and make them sound good reasons and still lose. And still lose on their prediction. Just happens. But I'm really torn, man. It's like, let's really go ahead and get these game fives out of the way. That way I can really ponder and think about who I got what, but I can't see that one. I just say this, I can't see that one going no less than 7. Why would it? If the hoop guys go take care of us, we need 7.
They need to really take care of us. It would be a slap in our face from the hoop guys if that was like 5.
Right,
I would feel cheated. Germ, LA versus LA. As it stands, what you got?
Man, I'm just happy to I just want to see Claw and LeBron. I just want to see PG, AD. I just want to see them four dudes do whatever they got to do. I want to see Rondo hoop. I want to see Lou Will versus Rondo. I'm here for all of it. I mean, the bigs, we got Trill, 2 Chainz, Trez. I'm here for it. I just feel like this is the series that will determine the champion at the end of the day. Because I think at the end of the day, I think the perimeter defense is a huge advantage for the Clippers, especially when they play like they've been playing against Denver. When they lock in like the way that they locked in these last couple of games against Denver, it's tough sledding against that Clipper team. And Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, I'm thinking it's gonna be fun, man. That's all I'm gonna say for now. MJ.
Y'all gonna lead us up to me? Okay, fine.
Travis here too. Travis back. He out of the mountains now.
Just let me first establish the fact that y'all are witnessing 5 goats. So it's like it just is what it is. Now that that's been established. All right, so this is basically what's about to happen. We are going to see what I anticipate. First things first, when you look at the Clippers, you have to understand that the Clippers were designed and built specifically to beat a LeBron-led team because they have all of the check marks as to how you beat LeBron in the playoffs. Do you have 5 hoopers in which LeBron can't be free safety without paying a price? Check. They do have 5 hoopers, especially when they go Marcus Morris, Lou Will, Trez, Kawhi, and PG. That's tough. So check mark on that. Do they have a wing player who can guard LeBron and at least make him have to work harder than he wants to? Double check. They got 2 people that can do that. Really 3 if you add Pat Beverly in certain situations. Do you have shot makers? Check. Do you have a deep bench? Check. So they have everything that checks mark off. But if we look at the Lakers, LeBron is not like it's like an end-all be-all when you have all of these pieces because LeBron showed he could beat teams like this too. He beat the 2013 Spurs. He beat the 2016 Golden State Warriors. So as long as his guys make shots, I think we're going to get the game sevens that we asked for. But in similar fashion to the Boston and the Toronto series, the way I look at it is if the Clippers are on, they win by 20. If the Lakers are on, they win by 5. And it's not to say that the Lakers are not the better team than the Clippers. It's just to say the style of play is going to dictate that. But if I had to choose, I would choose the Clippers only because LeBron has lost more games against teams like that than he has won. So I'm just literally playing the law of percentages. But those percentages is not, foolproof because what we're talking about, he lost probably 60% of those games and won 40. That's not anything to bet on. I wouldn't take it to DraftKings. I wouldn't go to my bookie and, put the house on it. But as of right now, it's going to be tough for the Lakers to beat the Clippers unless Danny Green has more than 2 good shooting games and the Lakers' bigs front court out rebounds the Clippers by at least 15 boards.
Our main man Trav on the road, somewhere between Jackson and Olive Branch, somewhere between Olive Branch and Nashville. We just undisclosed location. Trav, initial thoughts on LA versus LA, man.
That's gonna be a slugfest, man. This is what we've been waiting on the whole year. We've been waiting on this the whole year to get this battle, and we're a closeout game away to getting what we want on both sides. We're a closeout game away. Y'all know Claw gonna come with it, man. Y'all know AD gonna come with it. LeBron, like MJ said, he has shown that he has been on teams to defeat teams that was favored to beat him. But at the same time, this Clipper lineup is a bunch of dogs, man. It's a bunch of dogs. And we're starting to find out that when LA has Rondo on the floor, it becomes a big difference. It becomes a big difference. It's like Rondo knows the tempo of the game and gets LeBron off the ball of his on ball handling duties. That's a big part of saving LeBron for a matchup like this, because Claude, PG, them guys coming with it, man. Them guys coming with it. So the battle of LA is going down, man. That should be coming up Sunday, Monday, something like that. If they close out tonight, and the Lakers take care of their business, that should be like Monday.
Right.
Next Monday, we are expecting, Monday or Tuesday, we are expecting the battle of LA. And for the Clippers to be in this type of situation, to actually beat the Lakers, man.
It's so 2020, ain't it? It's only right that the Clippers win the way this year's went.
It's true.
Hey, man,
It's only right.
Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson are rolling in their later on grades right now. They are happy with us. So, hey, man, let's get it on, man. Let's get it on. Battle LA, man. Let's get it.
I think we talk about the stars, PG and Kawhi, AD and LeBron. I think the intriguing part of this series is going to be, as Ham, who wrestling fan, tell you, when the NWO came out, who's the third man? And LA, and that is the point. There have been so many different third men in that could emerge. Both the twins on both sides have been unbelievable for about 2 weeks. Marquise and Marcus have both played unreal. Rondo came off of furlough. Rondo was I don't know what, I didn't even know Rondo was in the bubble until he showed up the other night. Right. Rondo hopped the turnstile like Scott Hall in WCW and just started hooping. You've had Landry Shamet has had big games for the Clippers. Montrezl Harrell has all of a sudden looks like he's kind of found his sea legs. Alex Caruso thing. Laughed at it at first. However, at this point, Alex Caruso is a viable, valuable player on the Lakers. I thought when they signed Dion Waiters and JR, I'm like, all right, the Alex Caruso story is about the end. Not the case. So to me, the Stars always gonna get the headlines and the hot takes, but the emergence of other people, to me, is gonna decide the story. And to me, if it's about the other people, if you're saying the 4 stars cancel each other, then this is where the Clippers have the advantage. I just talked about the people on the Lakers who played with. But if I get prime Lou Williams and I get prime Montrezl Harrell, the Lakers don't have a third and a fourth that's better than those two.
But you have Paul George who balances it out. Because Paul George is good for not showing up for at least 2 games.
Which is also looming.
But the Lakers have games that they can't make free throws.
They
That's
do.
another issue. We got a lot of issues that we see. But the Clippers got games where they miss 10, 15 free throws.
The Clippers,
That's a problem.
The Clippers will have games where the Clippers are good for one time a series. They've done it against Denver too. The Clippers will almost tank with one game. There's one game they play every series where you just like, what is this? I don't know if you can do that against LA. If LA beats you, they beat you. I don't think you can give away games to the Lakers like you do against Dallas, like you did against Denver.
And, I'm going to pass this to Ham because I know Ham got something to say, but here's my thing if you're the Clippers. If playing against the Lakers for an NBA Finals can't motivate you, what will?
Exactly.
I can understand them sleeping through Denver. I can understand them sleeping through Dallas. I get that because you're like, all right, these dudes just keep. It's almost like when your nephew trying to keep hitting you and you hit him one time, he sit down for about 2 minutes and then he try again. And you just like, after a while, you just get tired. And it's like that with them. They're like, man, we know we're going to win. Why don't y'all just lay down? And they're not laying down. So it's like, okay, let me go ahead and put this energy to it. But it's begrudgingly. It's not like they really trying to go at their head. Now, the Lakers, they going to bring it for the Lakers. They've been waiting for this for when did the Clippers move to LA? They've been waiting for that since then. Clipper Darryl, Billy Crystal, all of them bringing their grit money. All of them. Every one of them. They bringing the grit money.
Oh, no, not the grit money.
I got a question for y'all, man. Is it better that we get this in the setting that we getting it, or would this been better at Staples?
It don't even matter.
Don't really matter?
I think in this case,
somewhere, I don't know where, but it does.
I think in this case, because obviously if you in the Staples, it's still neutral floor anyway.
But the Lakers got the advantage, just psychologically, historically, everything there. But it's like you put them in a closet with the ball. And this Clipper team, you can take that team, you put that team in the closet, in the phone booth or whatever against anybody. They win it.
I think also we talk about the storylines, and is Trash still with us? Yeah, Trash.
Yes, I'm still here. That game need to be in Staples. I'm sorry. Forget that. Nuh-uh. We need the movie theater scenery.
We need the
stadium
background. Lights, right.
We need Kobe. We need Kobe to just show his spirit a couple of times off. We need all the mystique in this. Do I like the neutral setting? Yes, but this game
That's what I would think.
This game is only fitting in the Staples Center. It's only fitting. Yes, it's still a neutral site, but you got Billy Crystal compared to Jack Nicklaus.
Billy and Jack. I think, fellas, will also make this such an interesting series that you talk about. These are two teams that made the two biggest moves of the offseason.
Right.
The AD trade, the blockbuster for Ball George. Like, those moves were made for this series. This is the referendum on both of those trades. This series.
Can I ask one more question?
Go
It's
ahead, Jay. You got questions today.
It's getting ahead, but can we envision any scenario where neither one of them get a Larry O? With what we have left?
I will
No.
say this. That's a great question. I think this is a good rapid fire question. I will
Especially
tell you
with
this.
the bubble. Especially with the bubble.
I will say this. Boston is, for me, Boston is the only team in the East that can beat either one of them.
I think that's kind of where I'm into.
I think Miami and Toronto just don't have enough firepower to beat either one. I think that Miami and Toronto will play hard as hell. I think they will do everything they can. But MJ talked about this early in the conference semi preview. What is the matchup I want for basketball?
Yeah.
To me, the basketball matchup is Boston getting out of the East. I think if Miami or Toronto gets out of this East, with all due respect to both of them and Spoelstra and Nurse, either LA handles either one of them in 5.
Let me just say this.
Yeah,
Let
go
me
ahead.
because I know MJ gonna be on me about this when I say this, because I'm coming.
Halo.
I'm coming down with this one. First of all, Boston, I agree. Boston is the only team that can make this interesting because of the wings. It's because of those wings. I mean, at the end of the day, Boston is probably Kemba Walker showing up consistently from being a whole chicken. And when it comes down to it on both ends of the floor, okay?
I like that.
Now, here's the problem. Here is the thing in my Trav voice. Here's the thing. When it comes down to it, we got certain players that just play better in situations like this. I will put my money on Trill Trez and Lou Will any day of the week coming off my bench against whatever the Lakers bring off the bench. It's going to be tough. But I will say this, against a team like Miami, I don't think who cares the Iguodala Garden Claw? Who cares? He's just going to get to 3 to 10 feet and he's going to dot his eye. Who cares? Jay Crowder, you get too serious, you get to try to get physical, he going to go around you. We seen him. We had a whole group chat where we was, ooh, Claw, don't do him like that. We had a whole thing about this. It can get like that. And then Paul George attacking the basket now. That makes for more problems. The only thing that'll make it interesting if Miami and LA play is we got Big Blue Nation in the paint. Shouts out to my guy Trav again. Big Blue Nation in the paint. That's the only thing that make it interesting. Bam versus AD. Now, I'm not saying Bam can stop AD, but I think that's an intriguing matchup. I think it's intriguing. It's fun. It'll be fun to watch.
I'm going to tell y'all like this. This is what I'm going to do.
That's it.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Atlanta, and I'm going to go to Magic City, and I'm going to order Lou lemon pepper wings while they play. It's only right. I have to do it. It's going to happen. Y'all go see it. I don't know if I'm going to go on the Zoom with y'all. I don't know how it's going. You guys will know. I don't know if the Masters going to know. I don't know if I want the Zoom to see, all of that happening. Wifey going to be with me too. So it's going to be clean fun. Wifey going to be with me too. So ain't no cheating. But I'm going while that game is on, and I'm going to get some wings from Magic City in honor of this, because quite frankly, I feel like y'all took that way too far with Lou Will. All the man wanted was some wings. And I seen the play. I would have did it too. So I'm just happy that we don't have to circle back on this and make it seem like Lou Will was in a bad situation because he wanted some wings, a little libation, and some eye entertainment. So in honor of him, I'm going to go there and I'm going to order those wings. And I'm going to watch the game. And I'm going to take pictures for y'all.
Looking forward to it.
That'd be a hell of a Zoom background.
Right.
That'd be a decent Zoom background.
Y'all
Right?
tell us where you want me to be ready for Zoom.
So,
you saying no to a lot of women though.
So real quick. So who wins game 7 tonight? Rapid fire. Start with J Ham.
Boston by 5, man.
Boston by 5. Trav, who you got?
Yo, ain't no yo mute.
You on mute, boy. You on mute.
Hold on.
Mute.
Can y'all hear me now?
There you
Yeah, we
go.
got
Okay. Oh man, the basketball gods would do me good if Boston wins. Basketball gods would do me good when Boston wins. But that doggone number 7, man. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That number 7
Number
something else.
7 is he's a force to be reckoned with. And Van Vliet.
We see.
You want to know something? I ain't never seen no guards under 6 foot bully some guards.
Hey.
Them two cats, man.
That's why I'm a fan of them, man. It's like, yo, that's like Jody and Zeke without Bennett, but they still evil.
Germ. Don't try to hide in the corner. Boston,
Ain't no
Toronto,
hiding.
who you got?
Boston. I'm gonna say it one more time. Boston, don't you mess this up. Don't mess this up. Boston. Y'all got the advantage. Y'all better win tonight. Kimba, you bet. Kimba, I don't need 5 and 10 points in a closeout game, Kimba. That's all I'm gonna say. Otherwise, Germ gonna have some things he gonna have to say. Because y'all been killing my guy Kyrie for a while now. Y'all been on Kai head since 2016.
Listen. We talked about the Paul George move and the Anthony Davis move. And I know because Kimba's the nice guy, so we kind of let it roll a little bit. Mm-hmm. If they don't get out of this series, number 8 got some splaining to do. And I like Kimba. Kimba seemed like a real decent dude. Would love him as a teammate. But hey, we gonna be what's this as my least favorite phrase? Keep the same energy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm coming.
It has to be kept. Whew. If Toronto beats it has to be kept.
All right, man. Give me Boston by 15.
Sauce God.
It's gonna be close. It's not gonna be close. Boston is gonna lock in. Kemba will be Kemba. You don't get the pedigree of winning 11 games straight in college and not having it in you for big stages.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't. Quite frankly, I believe that with Kemba, I think it was really more along the lines of pacing itself because going against those guards is physically taxing and tolling. It takes a lot of energy. But as of right now, y'all 0-0. One game moves to the next one. I doubt if Kemba don't show up for that. I will be very shocked if Kemba don't show up for that. The only thing that I'm really worried about is if Tice doesn't do what he's been doing. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about if Smart takes shots and missed them because he's been making them. So I can't be mad because he's been making them. I'm worried about if Smart misses those shots, if it shows up and he starts missing those shots. I'm worried about if Pascal decides to realize who he is and have a 30-point night that they've been needing for the whole series that just hasn't happened. I wonder if he's due. Those are the things that will happen, I think, if they don't win. It will be Siakam having a big night playing out of his mind, Siakam or Ibaka, because Ibaka can have that 25-point night on the low as well. Nick Nurse is going to show up. I'm not worried about Nick Nurse. He's going to throw the house at him, but it's just going to be about whether or not Boston's big 3 show up. Really that simple?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Boston, too. I think all things equal, Tatum, Brown, and Walker should be too much for them. But as Trav alluded to, That number 7, and these are dudes that have been there before. They've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, got the chip. Even though we've all picked Boston, Toronto winning this game 7 would not be a shock.
No,
There would be no surprise because they just tough as all hell. And
2 things too before I say this. One
go
thing,
ahead.
this will be the first ever series. If Boston wins, this will be the first series ever in which the road team won every game.
Oh.
And 2, even if Toronto loses, I think they are second in line for the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes.
MJ, I have that line. If Toronto loses tonight, that was going to be part of your shuttle awaits post. Because I think these last 2 years has put the Raptors as a franchise in a completely different place than they've ever been. And now you are a real player come summer 2021 when the money's better, number 1, and there's more stars available. Toronto absolutely will be at the table for one of the big fish next summer. So they playing with house money. Fellas, we're going to wrap this up. Remember, the Scene, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Basketball, football just started. We dropped, not we, because I'm not even going to take the credit for this. Shout out to Mo, Vic, and Germ. They dropped 8 division previews. It was like, hey, remember when No Limit was really rolling in '98? And they had an album like every 2 weeks.
Look, hey, forget
That's
about
them.
Grit Money. I want Germ's energy. Can I have your energy, Germ?
Listen,
Germ,
I got enough.
I don't want Grit Money no more. I want Germ energy.
Germ on every show. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, he bringing it.
Hey, look, all I'm gonna say is the sauce is free. I'll get you the recipe, my guy.
hey,
Need that. Pause.
Hold on. No, it's just water. Space Jam, it's just water.
so look,
Man,
Yo,
we covering everything, even for our international folks who like football. We got something for y'all later tonight.
Germ was on that show too.
Germ is on that show too.
I mean, I'm just trying to. It's the Scene, man. What you want?
Listen.
Hey, Germ is like Stephen A. When Stephen A. got that new money and ESPN said you gotta work every show.
He on everything. He's on everything.
Hey, we go start following karate movies, and we gonna have subtitles, and Germ gonna be the subtitles.
He gonna be there. Yeah.
He gonna be saying stuff, and the sound ain't gonna come out of his mouth till later.
I'm telling you, Germ is the Tupac hologram at Coachella. He's everywhere.
I try so hard, man.
Man, real talk. Your grind is not unnoticed.
Yeah, big salute though. We joke, but big salute to Germ for being part of all of these shows and really making this happen behind the scenes. Like, this is not, y'all are seeing us talking, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind to get this together. And Germ has been that since the inception and will be that. So big salute to Germ. Big salute to y'all for dropping in. Remember, the Scene, turn your notifications on, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, join the groups. Views from the 22 for football, 94 Feet of Light for basketball, Stoppage Time FC for the international football, because you never know we're going to pop up. We'll see y'all. Enjoy the game tonight. We out.